Force in the last 5 months. And I use the term "we" very generally. And it's bad. I mean, I think that as we saw in Iraqi Kurdistan, the U.S. will do the same thing that they did to the Syrian Kurds, which is basically when they need them, leave them in the lurch, and use them to inflame tensions with the ultimate goal of getting Iran. That's where it all fucking leads back to. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything in particular you wanted me to talk about with that? I mean, there's a lot of them there. Yeah, where I see that going. So that really ramped up when I was leaving. It was like 90% of the reason I left. There were special forces there before who I saw once, but never had any like real contact with. But by the time I was like back in America, we had deployed like 7,000 ground troops. Where I see that going is, I think that they're probably going to try to start some incident with the Syrian government. I mean, there's already been a few casualties, and I'm sure that the U.S. government would like there to be more so that there can be a response to it. But here's the thing, there's like this is the thing that like is indefensible. There's 7 U.S. military bases in northern Syria right now. They're not like, it's not like Fort Bragg. I think that's a real place, Fort Bragg. It's not like Fort Bragg, but there are temporary bases there. And that's the U.S.'s, I mean, besides opening markets, it's opening military bases. And that's what they want. Now, hopefully, tensions will escalate in an opposite direction, and the U.S. will be forced to shut on those bases, hopefully very quickly. But we'll see. It's one of those things that I can't predict. I'm dumber than the rest of you. It's fucking. I have no way of knowing what's going to happen. There's so many variables. Oh yeah, someone's doing stat, right?
So you talked about you can sort of use your micro-celebrity portfolio and what those are in the short term, as long as you can get here.
What's up?
So what you talked about sort of your micro-celebrity, you can use it for political goals.
Yeah.
What are those in the sort of short, medium, and long term?
All right. He asked what I talked about earlier about using my micro-celebrity for political goals and what those can be in the short, medium, and long term. In the short term, at least when it's still a major possibility, is whenever I talk about this stuff, making sure to mention or making sure to talk about U.S. imperialism and to talk about its material reality there, because there isn't a strong sort of anti-war movement. It's a complicated situation for left-wing people because obviously you want to support YPJ, but there is the American question. So it's acknowledging that and acknowledging the contradiction in that. The goal for that, of course, is for America to shut down every military base. I don't think I'll have much of a splash on that, but hopefully in the most minute amount. Medium, I mean, long term, it's a fucking, I want the same thing as all you guys, an incredibly repressive, centralized communist state. Like the worst caricature of the Soviet Union from right-wing people is what I want. In the medium term, working against Costa-Hawkins. I work with housing groups in San Francisco, and DSA in San Francisco is working against Costa-Hawkins to get that repealed. And that's actually really the only thing I really give a shit about right now, because I think it's the only thing we really do. Yeah, I don't know. Probably the same thing the rest of you fucking morons want.
So can you speak a little bit more, people termed it women's revolution, right?
Yeah.
Can you speak like a little bit more about women's role in this revolution outside of just YPJ, like co-ops?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, she asked me more about women's role in it outside of YPJ. There is a big one. The thing is, in society there before this, it was like not in the cities, but in a lot of places surrounding the cities, we'd have people tell me like, yeah, like it's super conservative. Like I had women in my unit tell me like it's super conservative. Like my father was like really patriarchal, really like big family, and like the women did all the cooking and washing, etc. The men worked and drank tea. It's like the same here, some families. And there is, I will say, when I went to the economic, like sort of department, the head thing, it was 5 women, 2 men. Every industry now has sort of been open to women. Like you can't change societal mores that quickly, so that there are like in sort of more conservative families, there are like it's not the same because definitely the laws have changed, but in function a lot of times it's the same. But in a lot of families, in a lot of aspects of society, it's different. You just see more women enter the workplace and especially political life. Like, women control like a huge amount of, I mean, it's half and half, but in practice, like especially within the party, women are generally elevated to a higher position, which is cool. I mean, and it's working. I don't know, any more specific? I didn't see the civilian society that much. I just have read mostly about it.
Did you have interactions with like police? I know that there's sort of like a police force and
Yeah.
there's some women within the police force, right? And it's
Yeah.
It's almost like yeah, like community policing. Like
Yeah.
Can you talk about maybe like just the police in general, maybe some of like how we fit into that.
Yeah. So she was asking about the police and how, if like the women, how they fit into that. There's a lot of women police. They're called asaish. They're not really cops. Like, they don't function the same way cops do here. It's mostly checkpoints. But then there's something called I don't remember how to pronounce it. HPX, which is like the very like basic level of policing, which is basically like neighborhood guards. And it's mostly, I've never seen a male one. It's like all, or one under 70. It's all like old women with Kalashnikovs at the street corner telling you to slow down, which is cool, you know. But within like, there's traffic police in the cities. There's, I think even before the war, there's men and women traffic police. I don't think it's in regular police. But yeah, it functions the same way internally in Asaish as the YPG. So that there's like, they don't have different names, but there's male and female ones. And yeah, you gotta listen to both of them. Everybody does, which I think ruffles some older people's feathers. But it was fine. It was normal. It's weird getting told to slow down by people, but I mean, what are they gonna do? Arrest you? You can just drive past them.
Did you study Kurdish at all before going there or during?
I tried to study before I went for a long time, and I am really bad at it, so it didn't go well because I didn't know how to like pronounce anything. But when I was there, yeah, the people I was with, there was one guy who could speak both English and Kurdish, and he taught me. So yeah, I can speak it now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not like right now, but you know, in general.
So you went there and you thought, like, what do you know about like their relationship to people coming from abroad? Like, they want more people to, is there a general atmosphere that they like want more people to come, or that they kind of are like hesitant about more people?
He was asking, I said, if there's a general atmosphere of them wanting more people to come, or if they're hesitant. I can't really say it. Like, I mean, there's like kind of two different people who go. There's like political people, and then there's like just weirdos. Both can be really fucking annoying. There's a fine line often, if one at all. I wouldn't say. I mean, even if they do, I think they still like the volunteers thing's still open, but I wouldn't go if you're thinking about it. It's not. I think it's the situation is not so great. I mean, they're winning and stuff, but just like the political situation, I wouldn't want to be around for the aftermath of that. And also, I wouldn't want to fly into Iraq right now. But yeah, they were fine. I mean, people people didn't even like think about it really. I don't think like it never was like a big deal or anything. I only met one guy who was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" because most of them had been like in units with foreign volunteers before, and especially when I was with Bogue, it was like they've been foreigners there forever, you know, and they're foreigners. They're from fucking Turkey.
So
Final
final question?
question.
Maybe
Oh,
two
wait.
questions?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, alright, so I'm curious, there have been some questions, at least here in Sacramento, they say about what anti-war activism would look like today. Because we set up a job site already committee that hold these events, and we kind of figured there should be some committee, some effort to support movements of resistance to capitalism in other parts of the world. At the same time, like whether that's part of the fight against imperialism necessarily, or like how that can be another component as well, just to be opposed to the U.S. military industrial complex.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you
Give me that in its most basic form that can be.
Okay, so like, what directions could anti-war activism go from here? I guess. What do you think?
He was
Just from experience.
asking what direction anti-war activism could go. Well, there's two facets to that. There's obviously resolutely opposing any U.S. involvement anywhere, which I think that's basic, and then that's really fallen off since I guess wars became less like vulgar for people. You know, like since they just use these fucking special forces instead of a whole like giant armies. So what that looks like, I mean, I'm not the president to answer. You know, I've never planned an anti-war demonstration, but I've taken part in a few. I think that goes for whenever America does anything, is to come out against it and to organize around it, because that's the biggest threat to the global sort of order of peace, at least, is the United States, especially with North Korea, and that's a hard one to get libs to agree with, is that we shouldn't nuke North Korea. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, it's just to always, if you see the U.S. doing something, to just argue against it. And that's a really, I don't mean like argue against it, be like argue against the YPG. I mean argue against the U.S. presence there. And that goes for everything, because it can't be self-determination if the United States is involved, because they'll always be the final fucking deciders. So like that's what with me. It's like I support the YPG, obviously, like I'm for it, but I like with like every fucking fiber of my being, I want the U.S. out. Yeah.
Any final one?
Okay, see, to me it seems like there's two ways of interpreting the Rojava Revolution, which on one level it's like there's this long top-down history, and Öcalan's party kind of dominates that,
Yes.
right? So Öcalan, he's in his cell and he looks at this bookshelf and he sees Murray Bookchin, and he thinks, this will be good, this is a better way to like spin our revolution,
Yeah.
and hands that down to his cadre, who handed down to cadre
Yeah.
in Rojava, who handed down. On the other hand, is it possible that there was actually a grassroots movement heading that way, and he just wanted to catch up to it?
Well, I think the way that I mean, I don't know what he was thinking. He asked if. I'll simplify it. Basically, if Abdullah Öcalan deciding basically to switch to democratic confederalism was just on his own and a top-down thing,
Yeah.
or if it was sort of perceived
Was it happening?
the general wins. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm familiar with the history of the region, like especially the Kurdish parties. I don't know if that's how it was happening generally. I think he saw that what was happening wasn't working, that they'd been fighting for so long, and they needed a change. And I don't think that was an uncommon sentiment amongst people in the party. Whether the Kurdish proletariat thinks the same thing, I don't know. certainly a lot of the ones I met did. But I think a lot of people look to him as both. I mean, the way someone explained it to me is like, yeah, like there's a lot of fucking pictures of him because he's like our fucking Abraham Lincoln and our current president and our fucking George Washington. You know, it's like it's our guy. Which was like, that makes sense. Yeah, fuck it. Plus, he's cool looking. He got a mustache. But yeah, I don't know. I think that what if it was handed down just like super directly, which it probably was, it worked, and people have taken to it. Which I mean, you know, it's at the end of the day, it's the same thing. You know, people are doing it on their own. You know, he can't do anything. He's in a fucking prison and on an island by himself. So yeah, I mean, whether it was just his decision to do it, it's definitely out of his hands now. And I think that's it, folks. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you again for coming down. I think we're going to be wrapping up this section, but we have the space for about another hour. So there are refreshments again inside. There will be a raffle starting soon. We have flags and books. Those are the raffle prizes. So please, if you're interested in donating for that, again, the proceeds are all for Rob Grott's daughter and wife. This is a DSA-sponsored event, of course. We have Jonah, who is a co-chair of the Sacramento chapter, and he'll be talking about some ways to plug in whatnot.
Hey, as Bryce mentioned earlier, he's working with DSA to fight Costa Hawkins. We have an event coming up on Tuesday at the Capitol. Maybe Bryce, are you going to be there? Hey, are you going to be at the Capitol on Tuesday?
No, I'm working, man.
Okay.